Listen, there's still a lot more news to get to, so don't you go anywhere. Morning in America continues right now.
New this morning, a deadline ahead of a potential lawsuit over the southern border. Why the Biden administration could go to court over this park in Texas. We're live in Eagle Pass, where NewsNation was given access to this contested property.
I'm furious. Everybody's furious. Nobody believes this story.
Talk about a strange story. A homeowner says 3 of his buddies froze to death while hanging out to watch a Chiefs game. Their families demanding answers. What police are saying about what went down. And some big changes are coming to the more than 2,300 Aldi stores nationwide. What you can expect the next time you shop for your groceries. Plus, if you're one of the millions across the country with a big chill in the air, the experts over at Best Reviews are here with their must-have gear to help you stay warm. Bundle up, everybody. It's Morning in America. And from our NewsNation headquarters right here in America's heartland, it is time for News for All America. I'm Markie Martin.
Thanks so much for joining us. I'm NickSmith in for Adrienne. We begin this morning with rising tension in the Middle East. The U.S. confirming a strike on Houthi missiles in Yemen.
It is the latest back and forth between the West and the Iranian-backed rebels who continue to fire at ships in the Red Sea. We've been talking about this for weeks now. This is worsening fears of the Israel-Hamas war spilling out into a wider regional conflict.
Robert Sherman has the latest from Tel Aviv. And Robert, this is a situation that has everyone in the area still tense.
And it doesn't seem as though it's going away anytime soon. This most recent strike that CENTCOM confirming to us knocking out 4 Houthi anti-ship missiles before they were able to be launched from Yemen, again, with the goal of trying to get the Houthis to back down. But now the Houthis coming out and taking responsibility for a missile strike that they carried out on a Maltese flag ship that was going through the Red Sea that made impact. No injuries or fatalities to be reported. The ship is still seaworthy and continuing on through the Red Sea. But it just goes to show that the Houthis are not backing down, and this whole situation is not going anywhere. All of this coming off of the heels of that announcement made by CENTCOM saying that they had intercepted a ship off of the coast of Somalia that was carrying Iranian weapons that were heading to the Houthis in Yemen. As we've spoken about extensively, Iran, a well-known backer of the Houthis. The seizure included supplies for medium-range ballistic missiles and anti-ship cruise missiles. CENTCOM says this was the first seizure of weapons headed to the Houthis since these attacks started in November. Jake Sullivan, National Security Advisor, saying they do not anticipate the Houthis backing down at this point.
We did not say when we launched our attacks, they're going to end once and for all. The Houthis will be fully deterred. We anticipated the Houthis would continue to try to hold this critical artery at risk. And we continue to reserve the right to take further action, but this needs to be an all-hands-on-deck effort.
But the key word that you're going to keep hearing is de-escalation. We heard that from Rishi Sunak from the United Kingdom yesterday. That's the goal of all of these strikes. Still, that message has not been received yet, but that is the stance that Western allies are taking. Something else that's worth noting here is that we continue to hear the U.S. and the U.K. point the finger at Iran, claiming them to be the effective man behind the curtain, so to speak, behind not just the Houthis, but Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas as well. Iran's foreign minister giving an interview saying that they have not been involved in any of this. They have not been giving instruction to anyone. They are offering support to some capacity, but they're saying at this point the Houthis are acting at their own behest. Markie?
Robert Sherman live on the ground there in Tel Aviv. Thanks so much for that update this morning. President Biden catching heat from members of his own party over the war in Gaza. 10 Senate Democrats, including Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, voting in favor of a resolution to freeze U.S. military aid to Israel. Also voting with the Democrats was Republican Senator Rand Paul. On the Senate floor, Sanders arguing the United States is complicit in the civilian deaths in Gaza. This comes as President Biden faces growing backlash from Democratic voters over his support of Israel's military response, though he has pushed Israel to scale back the fighting.
U.S. aid for Ukraine also at risk as Republicans demand enhanced border security in exchange for billions more to fight Russian aggression. But today, a major meeting between President Biden and congressional leaders to address both issues. Tom Dempsey has the latest from Washington. And Tom, this is a situation where everyone says in order to get funding, we want something on the table, too.
Yeah, absolutely, Nick. Good morning. In just a few hours, President Joe Biden will be meeting with the big four leaders of Congress, all to try and break a stalemate in negotiations over his $100 billion national security plan. But look, the president wants a lot more assistance for the Ukrainian war effort. The White House team says money has dried up for the Ukrainian war effort. But in return for more assistance, Republicans insist on seeing some big changes along the border. So the meeting happening today revolves around that plan President Joe Biden unveiled months ago that calls for over $60 billion to go towards the Ukrainian war effort. The president saying without that assistance, Russia could get an advantage in the war. The plan also calls for billions of dollars for Israel, Taiwan, and the border. But House Republicans want to see much more border security in return. In particular, they want to see a plan called H.R. 2 implemented, which would make it harder to claim asylum in the United States, resume construction of the border wall, and require employers to verify that their workers are documented. This passed in the House months ago, but has no chance of passing in the Senate. But this offers an idea of what Republicans could be asking for. Also, keep in mind that these negotiations happening today at the White House come as Congress hopes to reach a deal on government spending by Friday night, all to avoid a possible government shutdown. Guys?
All right, Tom Dempsey, thanks so much. We'll follow that meeting closely. Also, the Biden administration is giving Texas until the end of the day to stop preventing Border Patrol agents from entering a park at the southern border. State National Guard soldiers took it over just last week. Our Jorge Ventura is live in Eagle Pass, Texas this morning, which has been dubbed the epicenter of this crisis. Jorge, what details can you share with us this morning?
Well, good morning, Markie. Well, the border battle between the federal government and the state of Texas could take a new turn today. The federal government is asking Texas to stop its operation inside Shelby Park right behind me and to allow Border Patrol agents in. If not, the Department of Homeland Security will refer the matter to the Department of Justice later today. It's been exactly 1 week since Governor Greg Abbott ordered the Texas Military Department to take control of Shelby Park and Eagle Pass and block Border Patrol agents from entering. NewsNation was given access inside Shelby Park, where the Texas Military Department has set up 2 new command centers and are constructing new fencing. NewsNation cameras also captured a moment where a migrant attempted to get through the concertina wire and was blocked by National Guardsmen using riot shields. Texas officials say their goal right now is to prevent another migrant surge. Last month, with this area saw more than 71,000 migrant encounters.
The whole idea behind this whole taking over Shelby Park was to prevent another processing center to be set up under the bridge. And we saw what took place in December. That just continued to attract more illegal immigrants to cross the river because they knew that if they could get to a certain point, which was Shelby Park, that they would be processed.
DHS recently claimed that agents were physically barred from entering Shelby Park by Texas National Guardsmen on January 12 to help 3 drowning migrants. But according to a new DOJ filing, the Mexican officials told Border Patrol agents that the 3 migrants drowned already by the time they received a distress call. Now, according to a new DOJ filing, Mexican officials alerted Border Patrol that 3 migrants drowned in the Rio Grande at 9 p.m. 1 hour after the migrants drowned. NewsNation was able to confirm with Mexican officials that they performed the rescue operation. And Texas officials are telling NewsNation that despite the warning from the Biden administration today, nothing will change, that the operations behind this will continue here in Shelby Park in Eagle Pass. Nick and Markie.
Jorge, thank you so much. Happening this morning, a New York judge is expected to rule on a potential dismissal of involuntary manslaughter charges against Daniel Penny. Penny, you'll remember, is the Marine veteran who choked a homeless man, Jordan Neely, to death on a New York City subway in May of last year. He has pleaded not guilty and claimed self-defense. Mr. Neely had allegedly been yelling at and harassing passengers on the train when Penny got involved. New York police officials told ABC News last year that Penny, quote, was not specifically being threatened by Neely and that Neely had not become violent.
We're learning more about the 911 phone call and aid placed for Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on New Year's Day. In this brand new audio, an aide asked the dispatcher if paramedics could arrive without drawing attention. Take a listen.
Can I ask, but can the ambulance not show up with lights and sirens? We're trying to remain a little subtle.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, usually when they turn into a residential neighborhood, they'll turn them off, but they're required by law to run with them with the main streets.
I'm just curious, if we need them to take him to Walter Reed Medical, is that a possibility?
Let them know that when they get there. Like I said, I'm noting all this in the call, but just let them know that when they get there.
As you probably remember, Austin's hospitalization was kept secret for days, including from Congress, including from President Biden. The Pentagon's Inspector General announcing an investigation into how the situation was handled.
The oldest U.S. Senator Chuck Grassley is recovering this morning after being hospitalized for an infection. Representatives for the 90-year-old Iowa Republican say he is receiving antibiotic infusions and is in good spirits. The long-term senator's plan to return to work as soon as the doctors give him the all clear. And 3 men are found dead days after going to a friend's house to watch the Kansas City Chiefs game. The man who lives at home says they froze to death. What we know now about the case and what the families want.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions there, plus an update on the Idaho College murders case, why the lawyer of suspect Brian Kohberger is asking that judge to make their arguments public.
The one and only Bill O'Reilly, tonight on CUOMO, 8/7 Central.
Right now, get a free footlong at Subway, like the new Deli Heroes. Buy 1 footlong in the app, get 1 free.
It's a pretty big deal.
Kinda like me. Order in the Subway app today.
How do I do it all? With a little help. And to support my family's immune health, I choose Airborne. It has an unbeatable amount of vitamin C, plus a unique blend of immune-focused ingredients to turn up our immune support. Airborne, turn up your immune support.
He hits his mark center stage and is crushed by a baby grand piano.
You're replacing me? Customize and save with Liberty Bibbity.
He doesn't even have a mustache.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Okay, everyone. Our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Ensure with 27 vitamins and minerals, nutrients for immune health, and Ensure Complete with 30 grams of protein.
I think I changed my mind about these glasses.
Yeah, it happens. That's why VisionWorks gives you 100 days to change your mind. It's simple. Anything else I can help you with?
Like what?
VisionWorks. See the difference.
Here's why you should switch from Google to DuckDuckGo on all your devices. DuckDuckGo comes with a built-in search engine like Google, but it's private and doesn't spy on your searches. And DuckDuckGo lets you browse like Chrome, but it blocks cookies and creepy ads that follow you around from Google and other companies. And there's no catch. It's free. We make money from ads, but they don't follow you around. Join the millions of people taking back their privacy by downloading DuckDuckGo on all your devices today.
My mental health was much better, but I struggled with uncontrollable movements called TD, tardive dyskinesia. TD can be caused by some mental health meds.
And it's unlikely to improve without treatment. I felt like my movements were in the spotlight.
#1 prescribed Ingrezza is the only TD treatment for adults that's always 1 pill once daily. Ingrezza 80 milligram is proven to reduce TD movements in 7 out of 10 people. People taking Ingrezza can stay on most mental health meds. Ingrezza can cause depression, suicidal thoughts, or actions in patients with Huntington's disease. Pay close attention to and call your doctor if you become depressed, have sudden changes in mood, behaviors, feelings, or have thoughts of suicide. Don't take Ingrezza if you're allergic to its ingredients. Ingrezza may cause serious side effects, including angioedema, potential heart rhythm problems, and abnormal movements. Report fevers, stiff muscles, or problems thinking, as these may be life-threatening. Sleepiness is the most common side effect.
It's nice. People focus more on me.
Ask your doctor about #1 prescribed once daily Ingrezza.
News
NewsNation Tuesday. Live from New Hampshire, starting at 7 Eastern. It's America's first presidential primaries. And NewsNation Decision Desk 24 has you covered. Leland Vittert, Elizabeth Vargas, Chris CUOMO, Dan Abrams, and the best political team on TV with accurate, real-time poll results. There's a new home for election coverage you can trust. The New Hampshire presidential primaries. NewsNation Tuesday, starting at 7 Eastern.
Well, family and friends are demanding answers after 3 men were found dead outside of a Kansas City home.
The men, all in their mid-30s, were reportedly gathered to watch the Chiefs game, and after that, the mystery deepens, and this is what we don't understand. But Kelsey Kernstein is here as what police know right now and why the families are saying things just aren't adding up.
Nick, quite frankly, this is shocking. Police first and foremost say, we've spoken to them, that this is not a homicide case, but they're calling it a death investigation. They then go on to say that there's no signs of foul play at this time. But then you've got family and friends who say how these 3 men died, it just does not add up.
I'm furious. Everybody's furious. Nobody believes this story.
Jennifer Marquez said her 37-year-old son, David Harrington, went to a friend's house to watch a Kansas City Chiefs game on Sunday, January 7th, but he then never came home. 2 days later, on Tuesday, there still had been no sign or word from Harrington or his friends, 38-year-old Ricky Johnson or 36-year-old Clayton McGinney. Friends and family say they made several attempts to contact the homeowner who hosted the football gathering, but they could not get a hold of them. The fiance of one of the men then went to the home, knocked on the door to no avail, and then broke into the house. She reportedly found one of the bodies and called the police. Then when police got to the scene on Tuesday night, they found 2 more bodies. The homeowner reportedly told police the men froze to death as temperatures dipped below freezing in the area. But the Kansas City police say they are currently waiting for the medical examiner's cause of death for the 3 men. Marquez says her family will never be the same.
It's a huge loss. He's everything. He is a brother. They are missing him, and they are brokenhearted.
A heartbroken mother right there. And at this time, no arrests we know have been made. And again, police continue to emphasize there's no signs of foul play. Police also say the homeowner is cooperating with law enforcement, and he hasn't been named publicly because he has not been charged with a crime. Markie?
Yeah, something just doesn't pass the smell test here. Kelsey, thanks so much. Joining us now for more on this is NewsNation Law and Justice contributor Jennifer Koffendorfer. Jennifer, I just messaged you a little bit ago. I can't make sense of this story. Can you and I just start off with the person who lives at that home telling police, my friends froze to death? I mean, what? Their bodies were missing for 3 days. Why in the world isn't this guy a suspect in the case?
No, absolutely. It makes no sense. I mean, first of all, they came, they were all watching this game together purportedly. So how in the world can 3 of his guests just disappear and him not notice? One was found on the porch, one was found in the yard. It doesn't pass the smell test. You are absolutely right, Markie. And these investigations should be treated like homicide investigations until those toxicology reports are returned, period.
Is failing to report dead bodies on your property a crime, even if you had nothing to do with it?
It could be, if it would be under negligent homicide. In other words, if you looked outside and saw your friends laying down in sub 32-degree weather and did nothing to help them, certainly it's a Class D misdemeanor in Missouri as negligent homicide.
Yeah, and if you had nothing to do with it, why you wouldn't just pick up the phone and dial 911. Kansas City police at this time say there are no signs of foul play. How do you, just based on your experience, how do you think they ruled out homicide in this case already when we've been released such little evidence?
Well, really, Markie, what they've said is no obvious signs. What that means is they don't see blood, they don't see signs of blunt force trauma, they don't see petechia, they don't see strangulation marks, so they're not seeing anything obvious. I think that's what they really mean.
And also, I mean, you have better experience than anybody else with cases like this. If foul play, in fact, was not involved, what other factors could have contributed to these 3 deaths? And how are you reading it? I mean, if temperatures really were a factor, they're all together for a football game. I mean, could they have gotten so drunk watching this outside that is true? I mean, what's your best guess here?
No, I think that we're going to see something far beyond just alcohol. I would believe there's some sort of poisoning that's involved in this, whether this was some sort of drug poisoning, like a fentanyl poisoning, something along that line that perhaps they didn't even realize they were ingesting, or perhaps ingested but got a bad dose of some sort. I'm not trying to say, Markie, that these individuals were using drugs. We don't know whether it could have been accidental, but I think that that's going to lead to how they were rendered unconscious.
Yeah, and I think so many people, when you have such a lack of information and answers here, you're trying to make sense of a case that right now on the outside makes no sense whatsoever. Authorities also being pretty tight-lipped about this. Why do you think that is right now? What information do you think they may have or know that we don't, that they're holding close to the vest right now?
Well, Markie, they should be doing a full-on investigation with their phones, text messages, exactly where those phones were, the last messages received. They should also be scrubbing that house for signs of any other substances in there. I mean, this should be a case that should be easily solved, but the autopsy and toxicology reports are critical.
We've also heard a lot of these family members coming forward. We just heard from that mom in Kelsey's report that we played right before that. They're furious. They also are perplexed by a lack of answers here. How long will these families need to wait for answers, do you think? What comes next?
I think we'll see in another week or so some more strong results. I think the family will know before we will know. I also think because this happened in a small department with a small jurisdiction, I know they have asked for help from the Kansas City PD that has a robust homicide department. I think when they take over or start to help, we'll see more answers.
Yeah, well, hoping so, because a lot of people need answers. These families need peace. And tomorrow we're talking to Ricky Johnson's niece and possibly some other family members too, and we'll see what they're feeling and thinking at this time. Jennifer Coffendorfer, as always, thank you.
Thank you, Markie.
And I can't help but wonder, too, I wanted Jennifer maybe to touch on maybe carbon monoxide poisoning. They talk about that being the silent killer.
Yeah,
well, how else do you have these healthy men sit there and succumb to something?
Yeah, and maybe during the winter.
And during
that
the
makes
winter,
sense.
yeah. Oh, so many answers, questions. Writer E. Jean Carroll is set to take the stand in just a few hours, testifying in her federal civil trial against Mr. Trump. We're live at the courthouse with what is expected and how Mr. Trump may respond.
And think about those long security lines at the airport. I love this question today. Would you leave your companion if you had TSA pre-check and they didn't? I would in a heartbeat. I've done it before. Okay, sue me. Tell us your thoughts on X and hear what an etiquette expert says we should do in a case like this.
Plus, Taco Bell is turning their cinnamon twists into a sweet breakfast cereal, but only for a few days. How you can get your hands on this tasty treat when we come back. And as for the weather, still frigid. Actual temps below zero in Chicago with wind chills here in the minus teens. Even Miami is down in the 50s this morning. Wind chill alerts extend from Montana all the way to Florida this morning. Warmer weather may return next week. But in the Pacific Northwest, alerts in effect right now for snow and ice impacting travel. Freezing rain from Seattle to Portland with up to 15 inches of snow in parts of the northern Rockies. Take out those skis.
Shingles. Some describe it as pulsing electric shocks or sharp stabbing pains. This painful blistering rash can disrupt your life for weeks. A pain so intense, you could miss out on family time. The virus that causes shingles is likely already inside of you. If you're 50 years or older, ask your doctor or pharmacist about shingles.
I am embarrassed to say this, but I've been using deodorant on my armpits for the past 40 years. And yet anytime I noticed odor anywhere else, I thought I needed a second shower, I wasn't clean, or there was something wrong with me. And then my gynecologist told me about Lumi. It's a whole body deodorant for pits, feet, and privates that controls odor anywhere and everywhere on your body. I tried it and I noticed a difference right away. Everywhere. You won't realize the body odor you've just been living with until you try Lumi and it's gone. Go to lumideo.com to build your customized bundle today.
On Medicare? Have diabetes? With the Freestyle Libre 3 system, you'll know your glucose and where it's headed. No finger sticks needed. Now covered by Medicare for more people managing diabetes with insulin. Visit freestylelibre.us/Medicare.
After last month's massive solar flare added a 25th hour to the day, businesses are wondering, what should we do with it?
Bacon and eggs, 25/7.
You're darn right.
Solar stocks are up 20% with the additional hour in the day.
Ruined.
With the extra hour, I'm thinking company-wide power nap. Let's put it to a vote.
This is going to wreak havoc on overtime approvals.
Anything can change the world of work. From HR to payroll, ADP designs forward-thinking solutions to take on the next anything.
Stanley Steamer is proud to be the leader in deep cleaning, cleaning over 1 million homes and businesses across America every year. We remove the buildup of dirt, dust, and grime from your home and business. Call your local Stanley Steamer.
If your vehicle isn't under warranty, it's almost like a ticking time bomb. Sooner or later, it's going to break down, and you'll be stuck with a repair bill that could blow up your budget. Unless you have an auto protection plan from Everything Breaks. Our protection plans cover the expensive items that your auto insurance doesn't, like engine repairs, transmission, AC, computer systems, and more. Plus, our plans include 24/7 roadside assistance, free towing, free trip interruption, and free rental cars. Plans from other providers can cost between $100 to $200 per month. But with Everything Breaks, you can get the critical coverage that you need with plans starting at less than $1 a day. And if you call right now, your rates will be locked in, guaranteed. If your vehicle is out of warranty, call us now to get protected before it breaks down.
Call 1-800-374-4456, 1-800-374-4456.
Tonight, President Trump is expected to be in New Hampshire again after a sweeping victory at the Iowa caucuses.
But his re-election campaign steams ahead. So are his legal trials. Today in New York, major testimony in the second defamation trial of writer E. Jean Carroll. Dre Clark is live outside the courthouse where she will appear, and possibly Mr. Trump as well.
Yeah, good morning. E. Jean Carroll is set to take the stand this morning here at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, and former President Donald Trump may be in the courtroom when that happens. A jury is in place to determine if the former president owes damages to Carroll for making alleged defamatory remarks about her while he was in office. Now, on the first day of trial, which was yesterday, Carroll's lawyers urged the jury to award her at least $10 million. Mr. Trump already paid her $5 million last year. A trial last spring found the former president is liable for sexually abusing Carroll, therefore defaming her when he claimed she lied. That defamation ruling carries into this trial as well, so the jury isn't ruling if she suffered reputational damage. Instead, it's determining what penalties Mr. Trump might pay for doing so. Now, the story first surfaced in 2019 when Carroll wrote in a New York magazine piece that Mr. Trump raped her in a department store dressing room in 1996. Mr. Trump, still in the White House when the story was published, ridiculed her, calling her mentally ill, among other things. The writer claims she also suffered death threats. Now, Mr. Trump's lawyers told the jury yesterday that E. Jean Carroll's career, in fact, has not suffered, but rather it has prospered because of all the television appearances she's been making in spite of this ordeal. Meanwhile, Mr. Trump denies all allegations, and he does plan to take the stand to testify in his own defense. That's coming from his legal team, and that could happen as early as Monday. Nick.
Dre Clark live for us this morning outside the New York City courtroom. Dre, thank you. A South Carolina judge is limiting witness questioning in the appeal trial of convicted murderer Alex Murdaugh. The disgraced lawyer appeared in court on Tuesday after being convicted of killing his wife and son last year. The judge ruled that Murdaugh's lawyers must show that court clerk Becky Hill both told jurors to not believe his testimony and that it led to them reaching a guilty verdict.
An investigation is underway in suburban Cleveland after a controversial police raid that has left a 17-month-old baby in the ICU. Take a look.
Dogs, dogs, dogs.
So what you're watching here, we have body cam video from police showing that police force in Elyria, Ohio, breaking windows, throwing a flashbang grenade inside of the home. The family saying it caused burns to their toddler, who's now on a ventilator awaiting heart surgery. His mom says she was handcuffed, not allowed to attend to her child for 40 minutes. Police say claims of chemical exposure and lack of care are false. Now, as for the raid, they were looking for a past tenant of a past owner of that house. The family says they told officers that information during 5 previous visits, that they weren't the ones that they were looking for.
5 different times they told them that.
Yeah.
We'll see where this goes. Here's a look at some other stories we think you may be talking about this morning.
Yeah, Kelsey's back with what's in the mix.
You guys, let's go ahead and get to those top stories. So in Idaho, Brian Kohberger's attorneys are asking the judge to make their arguments public. They've been asking the judge to dismiss the charges and say that the public should hear about the denials. Kohberger's defense team previously argued that the grand jury was given inaccurate instructions. They also say that prosecutors withheld evidence that could have helped their client defend himself, ultimately leaving the jury biased. These arguments will be heard in court at the end of the month. Federal prosecutors are asking a judge to reject Hunter Biden's efforts to dismiss the gun charges against him. They say that a powdery substance found in his gun pouch was cocaine. The president's son pleaded not guilty to the charges that he lied about drug use in October of 2018. Biden confirmed he struggled with addiction during that time period, but his attorney says that he did not break the law. His defense team says their client has been targeted for political purposes. They urge the judge to dismiss the gun case against him. Grocery store Aldi will no longer use plastic bags at its 2,300 U.S. store locations. The company plans to promote a more sustainable environment. It also encourages customers to now bring their own reusable bags. The grocer says that they are one of the first major retailers to get rid of plastic bags across the country. They also plan to make their refrigerator system more environmentally friendly by 2035. Speaking of grocery items, I do like this because I love me some Taco Bell, and Taco Bell is making their popular cinnamon twist into a breakfast cereal.
What?
Yes, yummy.
Cereal?
The new breakfast option will only be available through January 22nd in New York, Chicago, Atlanta, and Los Angeles. Now, you can go ahead and order this through Uber Eats, and starting January 23rd, the first 500 customers, they will get a free box as a special promotion. Can I tell you, I have an addiction to cereal. Like, I can't stop.
Really?
I'm like,
well, we're in Chicago, so thankfully
I think
this
we
will
could
be
do a little
available
outing.
to you. We'll have a little
available
outing.
to all of us.
Yes, we'll report back in.
Absolutely. That sounds good.
Kelsey, thanks.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Yum.
Well, let's head down under with another impressive performance at the Australian Open for 19-year-old Coco Gauff.
Man, I mean, Gauff rallied in the first set against fellow American Caroline Dolehide before cruising to victory in the second. Taking that match in 2 sets, 6-2 there. Gauff advances to the 3rd round of the Australian Open for the 3rd time in her career. She is looking to become the first woman in 3 years to win back-to-back Grand Slam titles, having won the U.S. Open in September. She's also just a joy to watch.
She is,
you know?
and I've met her once,
kind
interviewed her once back in D.C. at one of the tournaments there. Just a great spirit. She was fantastic. So we're really pushing for her. We'd like to see an American finally be ranked number 1 again.
Yeah, she seems humble and grateful to be there every time.
And from one court to another, Caitlin Clark put herself one step closer to history Tuesday night with her 32-point performance in Iowa's blowout win over Wisconsin. Clark passed Brittany Griner to move into 4th all-time in scoring in women's Division I history. Clark is just over 200 points away from breaking the all-time women's scoring record held by Kelsey Plum. Iowa has another 11 games on their regular season schedule.
She's also so fun to watch. I can't get enough of her. She's on fire
What's the
always.
deal with all of these female athletes having such a great attitude? Is that a female athlete thing?
Definitely. It's just a female thing. At least I hope we're going that direction
There
anyway.
we go.
Yes.
Listen, well, California Governor Gavin Newsom says if it passes, he plans to block a bill that would ban kids under 12 from playing tackle football.
And this bill has been introduced multiple times by Assembly member Kevin McCarthy, who has argued that youth football leads to brain injuries and has long-term health impacts. In a statement on Tuesday, Newsom said, quote, "I am deeply concerned about the health and safety of our young athletes, but an outright ban is not the answer," end quote there. The governor says his office will work with health and sports medicine experts, coaches and parents, basically getting everybody on board here to stress that youth football
needs to be safer.
And, you know, we
how
just
to
heard
change it moving
Kelsey
forward.
just talk about one of the reasons he's considering retiring. In his 2002 documentary, 2020 documentary, he talked about how he worried about CTE and possible the effects of that raising two young girls, that he wants to be completely cognizant for them.
Yeah.
So professional athletes even have that top of mind.
It's something that you have to weigh before sending your kids down that path.
Well, listen,
Absolutely.
the Arctic air hitting parts of the country is basically creating EV graveyards. Yeah, those electrical vehicles just stopping right there. A cold, drained battery is leaving drivers stuck. What's causing the issue and what you should know if you have an electric car?
And when you finally make it out of the cold and into your home today, we want to make sure that you're staying warm out there as well. We're taking a look at some of the smarter ways to keep all of these frigid temperatures at bay, even when your furnace is struggling to do the same. Even my space heater right now is working overtime. It's not doing much right now, my friends. And tune in tomorrow morning on Morning in America. We are joined by Madison Marsh, Miss America 2024. We hear, do you want to sing that a little louder?
Miss America.
We hear from the Harvard grad herself and U.S. Air Force officer about her endeavors and her journey to being crowned. Looking forward to it.
Why did we choose Safelite? We were loading our SUV when crack. Safelite came right to us, and we could see exactly when they'd arrive. With a replacement we could trust. That's service the way we want it.
Safelite repair, Safelite replace.
This old, tired phone can't be traded in.
That's a bit dramatic.
I'm stuck with it forever.
A better plan is Verizon.
For limited time, trade in any Samsung phone in any condition for a new Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus on us. Only on Verizon.
Life, diabetes, there's no slowing down. Each day is a unique blend of people to see and things to do. That's why you choose Glucerna to help manage blood sugar response. Uniquely designed with Carb Steady. Glucerna, bring on the day.
Professor Lewis.
Dr. Freud.
Why would you come to see me if you disagree so passionately with my views?
To make you realize that you're wrong.
Well done. Good.
You've insisted the very concept of God is ludicrous.
An insidious lie.
Well, I disagree.
Of course you disagree. You hide behind your ignorance.
Truth is, you're terrified.
We're all terrified before death.
Freud's Last Session, rated PG-13, now playing select cities, only in theaters.
Your ancestry is so much more than names and dates. It's the story of your family then and now. A story that made your name mean something. A story you're still writing. So discover your heritage, preserve your traditions, represent all that makes you, you.
$579 breaths to show them your stuff. Every breath matters. Don't let RSV take your breath away. Protect yourself from RSV with Abrysvo, Pfizer's RSV vaccine. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory disease from RSV in people 60 years and older. RSV can be serious if you are 60 or older. Having asthma, COPD, diabetes, or heart disease puts you at even higher risk. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Visit these retailers or find other retailers near you at abrysvo.com.
When you're a small business owner, there's no such thing as 9 to 5. Days are longer, and business hours, well, they're anything but predictable, especially when you have clients like ours. When I considered payroll providers for my business, I looked for a solution that fit into my busy schedule. Sure Payroll makes running payroll fast and easy, so I can spend extra time with these guys.
Visit surepayroll.com/switch and get up to 6 months free. And find out what makes us different, because small business is our business.
How do I do it all? With a little help. And to support my family's immune health, I choose Airborne. It has an unbeatable amount of vitamin C, plus a unique blend of immune-focused ingredients to turn up our immune support. Airborne, turn up your immune support.
So with the Arctic blast sweeping much of the country, those frigid temperatures are proving to be too much for electric vehicle owners.
Yeah, you would think, oh, a car's a car. Not so fast.
Not the case.
That's leaving drivers getting their cars towed or waiting in long lines to charge them. Alex Capriello has more details on these winter woes.
Hey, good morning to you, Nick and Markie. I'll tell you what, these sub-zero temperatures over the past few days have created a real headache for electric vehicle owners who find themselves scrambling to get a charge, and quick.
I can't even charge my vehicle, y'all.
A harsh reality for many during even harsher weather. As bitter cold temperatures slam the country, with near record-setting freezes impacting the Midwest to the Deep South, electric vehicle drivers are learning out the hard way. They better charge up early and often.
This just don't make no sense. And then you got all these cars right here waiting. And these Tesla, these chargers is broke.
Some charging stations in Chicago have become EV graveyards, with Tesla drivers finding out just how quickly their batteries drain in the cold.
It'll drain pretty fast. This cold is brutal. It's draining the battery. I can't even get inside the car. My battery drained down to 5%, which is faster than normal. Long story short, here I am. We had to tow it out this way.
The main culprit? Cabin heating, keeping drivers and passengers warm. Those heaters are pulling energy from the battery, reducing what can be used for miles on the road.
The truth is, this is a known issue facing all electric vehicles in the market. A survey done by the company Recurrent surveyed at least 10,000 different EVs across 12 different models, and the results may surprise you.
Teslas lose about 28% battery life when the weather is below freezing. Ford's F-150 Lightning lose about 26%. But the biggest loser was the Volkswagen ID4, which drops around 46% of its battery life during freezes. So, what's the advice for EV drivers during these brutal temperatures? If you gotta drive, be prepared. Know that the battery drains faster, so keep your ride short. And if you do have to drive in the cold, consider limiting your usage of that indoor heater. The good news is that any battery loss experienced during the winter is a temporary problem, meaning there should be no long-term damage to your battery when the weather heats back up. Nick, Markie?
Yeah, when the weather heat back up, but in the meantime, your ears and fingers, everything just frozen up while you're waiting on that tow truck.
One guy in Chicago with all the dead Teslas was like, it's just a parking lot full of dead robots right now.
I love that.
People are not happy.
They're not happy.
Yeah.
They don't think it's funny at all. Well, listen, speaking of that cold weather, we are reviewing the essentials you need in order to keep your home and you safe, right? First, scan the QR code that you see right there on your screen. It will lead you straight to the best renaming deals on reviews.com. Let's bring in Best Reviews Senior Director of Content Operations, Jacob Palmer, to talk about some of these things. Hey, Jacob, Midwesterners are no strangers to what the wind chill factor can be and all that good stuff. But what are some products that can help heat up your home when your regular furnace struggles to keep your home warm enough?
Yeah, and I think Midwesterners, these aren't going to be anything that's going to break the mold or introduce something, but maybe it's a good reminder to re-up on some items that will really help out, because we've been testing these in the Best Reviews testing lab, and they're a huge help. And number one, they aren't that expensive. Starting with the Perfect Fit heated electric blanket, it comes in right around $200 at full price, but it's a great way to kind of warm up without having to crank up the heat too much. The thing we love about it is it's safe for pets. Frankly, the pets love it because it's warm and they can just cuddle right up on it. And it also machine washable, and it just gets the job done. Very warm over time. A great addition, you know, to cranking the heat like you probably already are.
Jacob, you had me at machine washable because I think that's probably the biggest problem with most electrical blankets. Let's talk tech. That allows you to control the temperature of the house, like, right? Any that stand out to you that you particularly like?
Yeah, the one that we love is the Google Nest Max Hub. It's the most powerful one. You know, my one concern with it is right now is that it is a little bit late, because there is a little bit of a learning curve getting that thing into the wall. You know, but at the end of the day, what we love about it is that it'll help you save money because it'll learn your behaviors over time. So that's a great one as well, you know, maybe for the next one. But for this immediate relief, you know, I think we've got some better options there as well.
You know, Jacob, I'm one of those guys who likes it cooler. I prefer to like get under a blanket or something. I don't like the house super hot. So I do turn mine down to like 63 before I leave. But when it does it automatically, it can be a bit of a headache. Markie,
63?
I do like the sweatpants and the socks. You know, just
what's wrong with you?
Listen, Jacob, any downsides to tech like this other than my coworker teasing me about it?
Hey, listen, I'm with you all the way. My wife upstairs might be a little bit more on Markie's side here, but the downside for it that we haven't really seen it, because what you can do is, say, somebody that wanted to keep it a little bit warmer in your house and you were going back and forth on it, that person could access it from their phone on the way home, knowing that you were the last person there, and then be able to crank it up a little bit so that they're not walking into a 63-degree house, and starting a little bit of drama for you.
Happy home, happy life. Isn't that the idea,
There you
Jacob?
go.
Jacob, thank you so much. Another thing that can make us happy is scanning that QR code. Jacob, thank you so much. For more information on Best Reviews products, you can use your phone to scan that QR code right there at the bottom of your screen. It will take you to bestreviews.com/NewsNation.
I'm not coming over to your house. You heard it here.
You're like, know that now.
No, I'm at 68. I like 63. Whew. It's a whole different story. Hey, 260 entertainers signed an open letter to the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences over their concerns for the Jewish community. We're about to hear from actor Mark Feuerstein about why this group is criticizing the organization and what they want to change moving forward.
Mornings. The golden hour of cold and flu symptoms.
I'm feeling better.
Cough? Congestion?
All in one and done with new Mucinex Kickstart.
Oh, hated that. Headache? Better. Fever, body pain.
Better now.
New Mucinex Kickstart gives all-in-one and done relief with a morning jolt of instant cooling sensation. It's not cold and flu season, it's comeback season.
Why pay too much for cable TV when it costs less for Fubo TV? Get all the channels you want with all the entertainment you love for the price that cable can't beat. Try free at FuboTV.com.
Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors. Easy to apply for the whole family. Vicks VapoStick. And try Vicks Vapo Shower for steamy Vicks vapors.
Mike had a heart attack a year ago, but he's still living in the red with a very high risk of another attack. With his risk factors, his recommended LDL-C level should be below 55. Find out if you're living in the red. Learn how to get a free LDL-C test.
My mental health was much better, but I struggled with uncontrollable movements called TD, tardive dyskinesia. TD can be caused by some mental health meds.
And it's unlikely to improve without treatment. I felt like my movements were in the spotlight.
#1 prescribed Ingrezza is the only TD treatment for adults that's always one pill once daily. Ingrezza 80 milligram is proven to reduce TD movements in 7 out of 10 people. People taking Ingrezza can stay on most mental health meds. Ingrezza can cause depression, suicidal thoughts, or actions in patients with Huntington's disease. Pay close attention to and call your doctor if you become depressed, have sudden changes in mood, behaviors, feelings, or have thoughts of suicide. Don't take Ingrezza if you're allergic to its ingredients. Ingrezza may cause serious side effects, including angioedema, potential heart rhythm problems, and abnormal movements. Report fevers, stiff muscles, or problems thinking, as these may be life-threatening. Sleepiness is the most common side effect.
It's nice. People focus more on me.
Ask your doctor about #1 prescribed once daily Ingrezza.
And deep breath in.
Did you know that people everywhere are recommending GoodRx?
My doctor told me about GoodRx to help us save money on our meds.
And my daughter told me about it. I take a lot of prescriptions. GoodRx helps me keep up.
My neighbor showed me the app. To help me save on my kids' allergy pills.
Americans everywhere are sharing the savings.
Dropping off a prescription?
Great.
Another good reason to check GoodRx.
It's our phone bill. We pay for things that we don't need.
That's a bit dramatic.
We must tighten our belts.
A better plan to save is Verizon.
It starts at $25 per line, guaranteed for 3 years, for a limited time only on Verizon.
If your vehicle isn't under warranty, it's almost like a ticking time bomb. Sooner or later, it's gonna break down, and you'll be stuck with a repair bill that could blow up your budget. Unless you have an auto protection plan from Everything Breaks. Our protection plans cover the expensive items that your auto insurance doesn't, like engine repairs, transmission, AC, computer systems, and more. Plus, our plans include 24/7 roadside assistance, free towing, free trip interruption, and free rental cars. Plans from other providers can cost between $100 to $200 per month.
But with Everything Breaks, you can get the critical coverage that you need with plans starting at less than $1 a day. And if you call right now, your rates will be locked in, guaranteed. If your vehicle is out of warranty, call us now to get protected before it breaks down.
Call 1-800-374-4456, 1-800-374-4456.
Welcome back. 260 Jewish entertainers are calling out the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences for what they call a lack of inclusion.
The letter criticizes the Academy for leaving Jewish people out of its diversity and inclusion efforts. Here's West Wing actor Mark Feuerstein telling NewsNation's Dan Abrams why he signed that very letter.
There were people who were very angry on these Zooms who were texting various leadership at these guilds, and it was very difficult to get them to put a statement out saying how horrific October 7th was, this massacre. And, you know, they had put statements out about many other issues from George Floyd on through, and it just felt unfair. And then we started to think and realize that we didn't have our own committee to protect Jewish concerns. And it led to a lot of other issues that we have. But, you know, I'm most concerned about Israel right now, and yet there are many other issues to discuss.
Right. So your point is that you're using this, right, these lists of inclusion and equity standards to say, why is Hollywood not paying more attention to the way that Jews are under fire? Is that fair?
That's exactly right. Yes.
And what do you make in general? I didn't even realize about all of these standards that Hollywood is now implementing before a film can even be considered for you know, the Academy Award. You need to hit all of these different equity and inclusion standards. I mean, this is the problem, I think, with heading down this road at all, is you're going to have people who are going to say, well, wait a sec, what about us? I mean, one of the groups is Middle Eastern. I don't even know what that means. Does that include Israel?
Right. You know, that's why we need a committee that's specifically for Jews. And to be clear, Jews are an ethnic group with a spiritual practice that not all Jews participate in, and there are so many different walks of Jews in the world. But you mentioned Everything Everywhere All at Once, and one example is there's a character in that movie named Big Nose, played by a Jewish actress, and you know, we want to watch out for that because it's not a great representation of our people.
Well, and I would think that if that had applied to a different minority group, right, and one of the stereotypes had been used about a character, one of these people who's hired to oversee diversity on film sets would be saying, oh, wait a sec, that's really insensitive. We can't allow that to happen.
That's exactly right, Dan. And there's a great book by Dave Baddiel. I don't know if you've seen it, a British comedian called Jews Don't Count. And in it, he makes the argument that anti-Semitism is a second-class form of racism. And I agree with that. It takes a back seat to all other kinds. And that might have been okay before October 7th. But when we saw an almost 400% rise in anti-Semitic incidents in the U.S. in this period since October 7th, we have to protect ourselves, and we need representation, and we need a committee that in each guild to make sure that doesn't, you know, happen in Hollywood.
And what do you say, Mark, to those who say, come on, Hollywood's run by Jews. The notion that Jews need a special committee seems unnecessary. What do you say to that?
I think you're making a great point, whoever's saying that. I think I hear what you're saying. There are so many Jews in Hollywood, and I myself have not experienced anti-Semitism. But there are concerns. There are little concerns. I don't think these are nearly as important as what's going on in the Middle East right now. But I will say I did a reading of a movie that was going to get made. I didn't have a part in this movie. It was called Mank, by David Fincher, about Herman Mankiewicz, who wrote Citizen Kane. And I remember reading this script written by a great Jewish writer named Eric Roth, and all the great towering Jewish figures who built Hollywood are being played by Brits on a Zoom screen. And I'm just having a moment of like, this is weird. No Jews playing the great Jews who put this town on the map because they couldn't be hired in any other industry in the world. And that was just sort of disappointing.
They're demanding representation, and they want to be heard. You can watch Dan Abrams live every single weeknight starting at 9 Eastern, 8 o'clock Central.
You know, there's a movie that I saw back in 2008 called Tropic Thunder. You could never make it now. Robert Downey Jr. It was hilarious, Markie, but there's just so many changes now with the way people want to be represented, and people so easily offended by so many things that I just think that sometimes the humor and art is lost, you know?
We'll see where we move forward from here.
Absolutely. Well, President Biden calling a special meeting. Who he's planning to speak with to try busting the border and foreign aid stalemate. We go live to Washington, D.C. with the latest.
Yeah, and if any changes actually come from that today. Also, a federal judge blocks the merger between JetBlue and Spirit Airlines. Why this could be considered a win for you and me, the consumer, and why the deal may not be dead. We'll see.
All right, now here's a question that may be dead in a relationship. Would you ditch your companion if you had TSA pre-check and they did not?
Yes.
That's today's question of the day. Vote now on our NewsNation X poll. We'll talk about it later with an etiquette expert, plus share your results.
The following is based on reality. You may be offended.
Please help me. Help. Someone, please help me.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. With Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
This is Life Alert. I'm calling for help right now.
With any of Life Alert's 3 emergency systems, help can be summoned immediately. And batteries never need charging. Life Alert saves a life from a catastrophe every 11 minutes.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-559-8882. That's 1-800-559-8882. Call now, 1-800-559-8882.
My melasma made me feel really ugly. I didn't recognize myself in the mirror. I just hated taking photos.
How am I ever going to get rid of it?
Stop suffering from melasma. More than 600,000 people have regained their confidence with Muesli's prescription treatments.
In the first 2 weeks, I was amazed.
I looked at myself in the mirror and I just thought, I'm back. I've been telling everybody about it. It's been life-changing.
Find the real you again. Go to muesli.com/TV.
Life, diabetes, there's no slowing down. Each day is a unique blend of people to see and things to do. That's why you choose Glucerna to help manage blood sugar response. Uniquely designed with Carb Steady. Glucerna, bring on the day.
Used for 2 weeks. Now it's a $1,500 coat rack. Didn't even learn smoke on the water. Never went once. Got a blister from the in-store try-on. Overwatered some, underwatered others. Couldn't figure out the lens cap. Created poison. Broke her pinky. Pulled her groin. Couldn't paint hands. Glued it to the table. Created poison again. Babble? Interesting. Can she even speak a word of Spanish?
Lo siento, ¿qué dijiste?
Wait, really?
¿Qué? Son solo 15 minutos al día.
Start learning today at Babbel.com.
Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance and I saved hundreds.
That's great.
I know, I've been telling everyone.
Liberty. Liberty.
How many people did you tell? Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, liberty, liberty. Liberty.
When my doctor gave me Breztri for my COPD, things changed for me. Breztri gave me better breathing, symptom improvement, and reduced flare-ups.
Breztri won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. It is not for asthma. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Don't take Breztri more than prescribed. Breztri may increase your risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur.
Ask your doctor about Breztri.
Welcome back, everybody, on your Wednesday morning. Time now for our news by the numbers.
We begin with a big price discount. Alec Baldwin put his luxury home in the Hamptons back on the market, now listed for only $19 million.
Oh, only?
Yeah, that's a $10 million drop from its initial listing price in September of 2022. Mr. Baldwin posted this video showing off the 7-bedroom, 9-bathroom, 10,000 square foot home located out on New York's Long Island.
Look at all that land. It is a beauty. Also in the NFL, there's a new leader at the top of the list of longest tenured active head coaches. The Pittsburgh Steelers' Mike Tomlin now tops that list.
Oh.
And get this, he has never had a losing season in 17 years, making 11 postseason appearances. Tomlin's career regular season record is 173 wins, 100 losses, and 2 ties, and he has won 8 playoff games.
That is definitely
Wowza.
a career to be celebrated.
And a couple Super Bowls.
Listen, check this out. Despite freezing temperatures, a Michigan man built a 5-foot-tall, 7-foot-long snow sculpture of an orca inspired by Free Willy. It took him 9 hours in sub-zero temperatures, but he definitely has a work of art. He said the cold didn't bother him because he was wearing a parka made for those temperatures.
Yeah, you know that went a long way for those neighborhood kids.
Kids love
if
that.
he has kids himself,
Absolutely.
yeah, he gets the cool dad points.
Listen,
for
still
sure.
so much more news to get to right here on Morning in America, and it all starts right now.
New this morning.